Hello, boys and girls, and all my friends and family at Anna Reynolds. I decided to come to you from my kitchen tonight and share with you a little bit of a holiday cooking project. So the story I've chosen, I'm not telling you what the project is yet. That always comes at the end. But the story I've chosen to go with my holiday project this year is a story called Hansel and Gretel. And after I finish reading this story, you might figure out the connection as to something in the story and something I'm going to show you how to make. All right? This is a fairy tale. So we're always going to learn some kind of moral or some kind of lesson. You know, what life lesson did you learn? Or what theme is in this story? So I always like my kids to be thinking as I'm reading to them, what are you learning from this? What life lesson are you taking away from this? Why did the author write this story? What is he trying to teach you? And this is written by James Marshall. So sit back and relax, enjoy the story. We'll talk a little bit about the theme and maybe what you learned at the end. And then I'm going to show you how to make a version of something in this book. Here we go. Hansel and Gretel by James Marshall. I'll try to get close so you can see the pictures. Once upon a time, in a cottage near a vast forest, there lived a poor woodcutter, his wife, and his 2 children. The boy was called Hansel, and the girl was called Gretel. Okay. At the best of times, the family had precious little to live on. But now there was a great famine in the land, and food was scarcer than ever. Means not much of it was around. The woodcutter's wife was worried that there wouldn't be enough for her. "Those wretched children of yours are gobbling everything up," she said to her husband. "Do you want your pretty little wife to waste away? Something will have to be done." "Yes, my dearest," said the poor woodcutter, who was afraid of his wife's ferocious temper. "She doesn't like us," said Gretel. "Yes, she does," said Hansel. But he didn't really mean it. There she is. She doesn't look like she's wasting away, does she? Not to me, anyway. Try to make it not be so glary. And there's Hansel and Gretel. And there's the woodcutter. I don't think she likes them, do you? One night, when the woodcutter was tossing and turning and worrying about how to feed his family, his wife revealed a plan. "Listen to this," she whispered in her husband's ear. "We will take the children into the woods and give them a bit of bread and leave them there." "Never!" cried the woodcutter. But his wife badgered and badgered him to do it. "My poor children," cried the woodcutter. "I know what's best you don't," said his wife. "Oh dear," whispered Gretel. "Don't worry," said Hansel. "I'll take care of both of us." And slipping out into the moonlit night, he gathered up as many white pebbles as he could find. "What are you doing?" said Gretel. "Oh, you'll see," said Hansel. So he's gathering up. He's getting an idea because they want to drop him and Gretel into the woods. Yes, I don't think she likes them very much. "Up, you lazy bones," cried the woodcutter's wife early the next morning. "It's time to go into the forest and fetch some wood." And she gave Hansel and Gretel just a crust of bread. "Save it for lunch because it's all you're going to get." And the family set off. In a short while, Hansel stopped and turned around. Soon he did it again. "Why are you lagging behind?" Hansel asked his father. I'm looking back at my white kitten on the roof of the house," said Hansel. "You donkey," snapped the woodcutter's wife. "That's not your kitten. That's the morning sun on the chimney." And they entered the vast forest. There they go. She doesn't call them very nice names. So I am thinking she doesn't really care for him. In the middle of the forest, Hansel and Gretel were told to build a fire of brushwood and to wait. "We'll return soon," said the woodcutter's wife. And the children were left all alone. They heard the sound of an axe chopping wood, and they thought that their father must be nearby. but it was really a bough he had tied to a dead tree being blown about by the wind. At midday, they ate their bread and they waited patiently, and that afternoon slowly passed, but nobody came back for them. Finally, the children closed their eyes and went to sleep, and when they awoke, it was pitch black. "Are you frightened?" said Gretel. "Of course not," said Hansel. He's acting like the bigger, older brother who's going to take care of her. I bet he really is scared, but he doesn't want her to know that. When the moon had risen, Hansel took Gretel by the hand and showed her how he could follow the trail of white pebbles. "Ooh, what a clever brother I have," said Gretel. It took them the rest of the night, but they made their way out of the forest. When the children arrived home at daybreak, the woodcutter's wife was shocked and infuriated. That means really angry. Although she quickly pretended to be glad to see them. "Oh, we thought you were never coming back," she said. Did she really want them to come back? No, right? She's just pretending to be happy to see them. Hansel and Gretel believed the worst to be over, but soon there came another famine where food was scarce, and the woodcutter's wife began to fret. That means worry. "There's hardly enough for the two of us to eat," she said to her husband. "We simply have to take the children back to the woods." "Not again," whispered Gretel. "Don't worry," said Hansel. "I still have an idea." But when he went to gather up those pebbles that he found before, he found that she had bolted the door shut. So the next morning, they were only given a bit of bread, and then they were set off into the woods. And every few paces, Hansel turned around and strew, which means threw, a handful of breadcrumbs behind him. "Why are you tarrying, Hansel?" Means like slowly walking behind. Said his father, I'm looking back at our roof. I think I see my white pigeon." "Simpleton," cried the woodcutter's wife. "That isn't your pigeon. That's the morning sun on our chimney." Can you see that? Sometimes the light from my camera is making it a little too bright. This time she didn't let him gather those pebbles. He's throwing bread to leave a trail to hopefully come back. But what do you think is going to happen if he's made a trail of bread in the woods? Think about that. When they came to the most forbidding part of the forest, the woodcutter's wife said, "You wait here while your father and I go gather wood, because we will be back soon." Hansel and Gretel this time did not believe her. And at midday, Gretel shared her bread with Hansel because he had given his, into little pieces to leave a trail. Soon, as they did before, they fell asleep, and when they awoke, it was pitch black. "Ooh," said Gretel. "When the moon rises," said Hansel, "we will then be able to see the trail of breadcrumbs that I left, and we'll follow them out of the woods." But when the moon rose, they found no breadcrumbs. "Oh no, the birds in the forest have eaten them all. Oh, we'll never get out," cried Gretel. And they wandered on deeper and deeper into the forest, eating whatever berries they could find. When they'd been away from their home for 3 days, a snow white bird appeared. It's right here. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. It's right up here. There it is. See it? And they said, "Hey, let's follow it." They haven't eaten much except berries for 3 days. Do you think they're hungry and cold and thirsty? Well, look what's about to happen. The snow white bird led them to a clearing where there was a small house, ready, made of cookies and candies, spun sugar and cake. It was like no house they had ever seen. And being terribly hungry, the children set about having a regular feast. Hansel broke off a piece of the roof cake, and Gretel tried a bit of window sugar. It was all as good as it looked. And then suddenly they heard a shrill voice from inside. "Nibble, nibble, little mousie, who's that goodness, look at that. Look at that gorgeous candy house. Kind of reminds me of a gingerbread house, but not exactly. What is Mrs. Gagliardi going to make? The door flew open. "What's this?" said a lady who Gretel was sure was a witch. "Too tasty. Pretty children have come to stay. Now, don't be alarmed, my angels. I'm really very sweet." And she took Hansel and Gretel by the hand and she led them inside where a sumptuous, meaning delicious, dinner of sugared pancakes with apples and nuts had been prepared. Hansel and Gretel ate and ate until they were perfectly stuffed. "Time for sleep now," said the lady, and she tucked them into their snug, warm beds and tiptoed away. "She's nice," said Hansel. Said Gretel. Gretel's beginning to think maybe she's not as nice as she appears. It's interesting because now it's changing and it seems like Gretel's becoming the clever one. The next morning, the lady, who was indeed a witch, snatched Hansel from his bed, carried him outside, and tossed him right into a cage. "Lovely," said the witch, "lovely. This is where I shall fatten you up. And when you're all plump and juicy, I shall have a regular feast." "You let my brother out," cried Gretel. But the witch, who was delighted with her handiwork, only cackled and did a little dance. She's going to eat Hansel. And now Gretel's going to have to be the smart one and the clever one to figure how to get him out. Or maybe they'll work together to figure it out. Let's see. Poor Gretel, who had to do all of the witch's chores, was put to work cooking enormous meals for Hansel. For her own dinner, Gretel was only given crab shells. And every morning the witch would go to Hansel's cage to see how much fatter he had grown. "Hansel, stick out your finger," she said. And Hansel would stick out an old chicken bone. Witches, as everyone knows, have beady red eyes, but dreadfully poor eyesight. "I simply don't understand it," said the witch. "You're as thin as a bone. I can't eat you yet." So he's tricking her because she's trying to feel if he is fat enough to eat, and he just keeps showing a chicken bone. And remember, we said she has terrible eyesight, so she thinks that's his arm. Now, Hansel's little trick did work for some time, and every morning the hungry witch was annoyed to still find him so skinny and scrawny. "Phooey," said the witch, "not yet." But finally she had run out of patience. "I'll just have to eat you as you are," she said. And she had a consoling thought. "Perhaps I should eat the little one too." "Gretel, dear," she said, "would you please peek into the oven to see if it's sufficiently hot?" I think she wants to cook them first. But Gretel saw what she had in mind. I don't know how to look in the oven," she said stupidly. "You ghost," cried the witch. "I'll show you." And the witch crawled partially into the oven to show Gretel how to peek into the oven. And really, there was only one thing for Gretel to do, right? What did she do? She gave that witch an enormous shove right into that oven. Smart and clever. The horrid witch roasted to a regular crisp. "We're free," cried Gretel. "The witch is dead." Hansel flew out of the cage like a bird. "What a clever little sister I have," he cried. And together they explored the witch's house, where they found boxes and boxes of precious gems and gold coins. Look at, she's roasting in that oven. Can you see it? Let's see, I'll tip it. Look at her. That oven is hot. "Oh, better than pebbles," said Hansel. "But now it's time to leave the witch's woods." And when they had wandered about for some time, they came to a wide lake. And wouldn't you know, a kindly duck offered to ferry them, which means to carry them, across. As they neared the opposite shore, Gretel was sure she could see her father's house in the distance. Look at that. A nice bird came to their rescue. I always love stories that are happily ever after, right? And when the children reached home, their father welcomed them with open arms, for he loved them so dearly and he had missed them so much. He had been miserable without them. He had told them that his wife had died. Whether Hansel and Gretel were sorry about that news, it's difficult to say. But with their family, with their father, they lived happily ever after. And look at that. Now they have all the jewels. Let's see, can we see that? Nice and all the coins. And they're happy now because the stepmother is gone or the wife is gone. And they're gonna have their father who loves them so, and they'll have enough food to eat forever. So let's think about that. What kind of theme ran through this story? It kind of reminded me a little bit about what's happening to all of us right now with the pandemic of the coronavirus. We're all needing to survive and just be something called resilient, which means we just have to figure out how to live with this virus, right? We have to just make our day the best we can. Even though we can't go see our friends, and even we have to wear that mask all day in school, and we can't go visit people like we used to, we still want to survive, right? We still want to have a great life because the vaccine is coming and it's going to help all of us, a medicine to help all of us get better soon. So we need survival and resilience. Never give up, right? There's always something good at the end of the tunnel if you just keep moving forward with positive energy. And that's kind of the theme that I've got in this story. And that if you're smart and you're clever and you're resilient and you want to survive and you always keep a positive attitude, you can be clever and you can overcome anything in life. So even if you don't have a great life one day or 1 week or 1 month or 1 year, never give up. Just keep pushing forward and you will come out on the other side happier and better off. I thought that was a good message, right? Oh, and another one, don't ever trust strangers. They should have never trusted that lady when they saw that candied house. She was trying to be so sweet to let them in, remember? Never trust a stranger. Should never go into a stranger's house. They're lucky they got out safely. But anyway, let's go back to that house that she had. I kind of understand why they went into that beautiful house, because it was made of candy. And if I was starving and hungry and I saw a house made of candy in the woods, I probably would go start nibbling at it myself. And then if someone nice came out and invited me in, I guess I could have been tricked if I was a young child. But look at that house. That reminded me of what people are doing right now during the holiday. I see a lot of people online making gingerbread houses. Have you ever done that? Have you ever bought like a kit to make a gingerbread house? They're fun to do, right? You could get the whole kit, got the frosting and the candy and the gingerbread pieces, and you put it all together. And when you're done, you have this beautiful house you can look at or you can eat. Some people make them out of graham crackers. Some people actually make the gingerbread pieces themselves and do it, and other people buy an entire kit. But not everybody loves gingerbread. It's a very strong flavoring, and some people don't care for it. So I started thinking, let's make, instead of gingerbread houses, because everybody does that, let's make Winter Wonderland houses. That means a house that looks like it maybe has some snow on it or some glittering on it. Maybe we can make our own candy houses just like in Hansel and Gretel. But I don't want to use gingerbread. So I did some research online and I saw that people are making Pop-Tart houses. Now, I love Pop-Tarts. I don't know about you. But I watched a few videos and I thought, This is a great idea. I want to show you how you all can make Pop-Tart houses. And the fun part about Pop-Tart houses is you can eat it for breakfast, right? And so, let me show you how to do it. There's lots of ways. You could go to the grocery store and buy a box of Pop-Tarts, and in it you will have 4 sleeves of Pop-Tarts with 2 Pop-Tarts in each sleeve, okay? Now, before you do this, you would wash your hands really well, especially if you were giving it away to somebody. But I'm just gonna do this for you for fun, okay? So in each box, you will get a sleeve of Pop-Tarts, and in each sleeve, there are 2, and you get 4 in a regular box from the grocery store. If you go to the dollar store, where I went, Dollar Tree, and I bought a box for $1, there were actually 3 packages with 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. So I ended up with 6 pieces, and that's exactly what I needed for my gingerbread Pop-Tart house. So what I would do is I'd just head to the Dollar Tree, because $1 sounds like a good idea to me. Then after I spent $1 on this, I spent $2 on frosting, and I spent $1 on gumdrops, $1 on a bag of candy, and I think $1 other on candy canes. So for about $5, I'm going to put a really spectacular house together. And then you could go around your house and look for things you have to decorate that you like to eat. All right? So let me show you how to do this. So you're going to get a box of Pop-Tarts, and you're going to need to open the package. You're going to need 6 whole Pop-Tarts. Now I'm gonna bring this over, and I'm gonna move my camera down so you might not see me as much. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that with my hand. But I want you to see the Pop-Tarts, okay? So here's 6. This is how you're going to cut your Pop-Tarts to make a Winter Wonderland Pop-Tart house. All right, I'm gonna start with the first one right here. All right, so 2 of them you're going to keep regular size for the roof. So I'm going to put those aside. Then you take 2 more, and we're going to make that triangular part of the house. And the easiest thing to do is to go sideways like this. Can you see what I'm doing? And then get your knife and make a cut. It's almost like you're measuring it right there. See how that just fit together like that? And then you come over to the other side, and you can make another cut. And that's it. That's all you need to do. And you just even it out kind of like that, okay? And then you could do it again to the next one. And you can save those edges and eat them if you're someone who loves Pop-Tarts, okay? Then I'll do it again. So I level this down like this. And if you can't see how I'm doing it, you can always go online and look up Pop-Tart houses. And there's a video that shows you exactly what I'm doing. And I put it down at the bottom, and then I get this little part here to measure, and I just cut it off, okay? It doesn't not have to be perfect, okay? And then I end up with 2 pieces that look like that. Let me see, is this too bright? There they go, okay? 2 pieces that look like that. I'm gonna put those down. Then for these are gonna be the sides, and the easiest way to measure this is to actually line it up like that, the same way we did for the corners, but instead of cutting off the corner, you're literally just gonna cut straight across so that it's even now with that other Pop-Tart. Okay, just like that. And then you could do it again on this one, okay? And you're just gonna cut it across. Now, see these little pieces I have left? Oh, I'm saving those in a baggie, and I'm going to eat those for breakfast tomorrow. So now I've got the sides, I've got the corners, or I mean the other sides, and then this is going to end up being your roof. Okay, so now, there's lots of things you can do. The easiest thing to do is to just go buy this bag of white icing that they sell for about $2.99, sometimes $1.99. You can make confectionery sugar and meringue powder. You could look up that recipe and make your own. Or you could even just take canned frosting, and you can take a baggie, if that's all you have, and you could put a tip in it or not put a tip in it, and you could scoop some into your baggie. Make sure it's a nice, really thick, good bag that's not gonna break open. Scoop some in, and if you have a decorating tip, that's great. You just cut off the edge, and then you'll have some, decorating. But if you don't have the decorating tip like I do, you just scoop some frosting in. Let me show you how to do it real quick. I'm not gonna scoop a lot of it because I'm not gonna use this kind and I don't wanna waste it, okay? But what you would do is you would scoop it down to the corner like that, okay? And then you'd get your scissors and you would just cut this edge off right there, all right? And then you would have, see, a little bit where you'd be able to bring your frosting out, all right? So that's many ways to do the frosting, but I'm just gonna use this bag of cookie icing white. I just happen to like that. All right, now, here's the part where if you're gonna make the gingerbread house, you're gonna want, if you want to decorate it, you're gonna wanna make the house the night before so that it gets nice and sturdy, okay? And it sets up really well. So let me show you basically how you're gonna do this. This is where you might need a help with a grown-up, maybe. So the first thing you wanna do is you wanna just maybe put some icing right along the corner like this, okay? That's gonna be one of your corners, okay? I'm gonna stand it up like that. And then I'm gonna take one of these pieces. Now notice it has like this frosting. I'm gonna put that on the outside. I'm gonna put this on the inside, okay? So the frosting part goes on the outside, all right? I'm gonna start building. And I'm building it on a dish. See how that just stands up, okay? Then I'm going to take my other piece, okay? And I maybe just put a little extra frosting. This is acting like glue actually. You know, like don't put too much, okay? Just a little. And like stand that up like that. Now this is where you might need some help from a grown-up to hold it for a little while, okay? And then you're gonna take this piece and you're gonna put more frosting on. And what you're going to wanna do is put it all together. So hold on 1 second. This is the tricky part I told you. You have to be patient. Might wanna get all your frosted glue on first, okay? I'm gonna see if I could do this for you. Hold it up. This is where you might get a grown-up to help you with just this part, all right? Of course, it's not working for me today because you're watching me, right? Okay, so you get it like that, and you just get it to hold. At the beginning, you're gonna have to hold on to it for a little while, okay? It does not have to be perfect. See? I'm gonna hold it now, and I'm pressing lightly, and I've got some nice frosting on my edges, okay? Got a little on my hands. Now I'm pressing very, very lightly. Now, while your parent or someone's helping you, you could actually fill in a little more frosting right at the corners because that's gonna actually give it extra sturdiness. Whoops, when it holds. Whoa, 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 come back, come back, come back, come back. Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I'm so sorry, this is not working. I'm gonna show you one that worked though. But anyway, oh, Mrs. Gagliardi is making a mess here. I'm so sorry. It's not working for me today. This is bad. All right, remember, resilience, never give up. Hold on, I'm gonna keep going. I'm not giving up yet. All right, I'm gonna hold it. I probably should have just held on to it. Let me just leave it like that. Okay, it will hold. You're gonna need help with that with a grown-up, right? Then what you do is you do the same thing and you put the frosting on that and then you hold it like that, okay? It really does work if you take your time and you're not on the camera, all right? And then you put some frosting right down the top here. All right, let me show you one that worked. Hold on, I'm gonna take this apart. I apologize, but look, I promised you it worked, right? Look, I did this one ahead of time. It truly worked. There it is. And then I just let it sit overnight. That's it. And once it sits overnight, it came right off the dish and it was like super sturdy. So again, there's your corner ones. Those are the ones we cut. And then these were the pieces that go on the top with the frosting, okay? And if you're not doing it on camera, I promise you it will work. Buy extra Pop-Tarts just in case you make a few mistakes. And don't be afraid to start again if something happens. But once it's together, it's beautiful. Doesn't that look like a Winter Wonderland house? And it's made strictly out of Pop-Tarts. I could eat it like this right now. Now, once it's overnight and it's hardened, so you're not gonna be able to do the house and then decorate it at the same time because it will fall apart. Let it harden. Then you're going to start decorating, all right? So, I had this great, you could decorate right on the plate and you could start doing like this. You could do anything like candies. You could do M&Ms, colored M&Ms. You could use gumdrops. You could use pieces of cereal even. If maybe you have Fruit Loops or something. Go look in your, if maybe you have some like candy sprinkles. Just go and look around in your cabinets and see what you have. And what you'll start doing, I'll start on this one, is you will start putting decorations on your house. Now, you could do anything you want, all right? You're gonna have to unwrap these if those are what you would like to use. If you're using gumdrops on the top of the house, maybe I'll go red and green here, okay? You can use the whole gumdrop because it's sitting on the top of the house, okay? So that's fantastic, right, like that, okay? I could do a pattern, maybe do a green one, all right? But let me give you a clue. If you want to do gumdrops here on the side, they're heavy. So what you would want to do is get a knife or a pair of scissors, cut them in half. Because the smaller the candy on the sides of your house, the easier it will stay onto your house like this without sliding off. Again, you're going to have to use this as your glue. Maybe you want to use some honeycomb. Maybe you want to do this on this side. You know, think about things you might like to eat even. Maybe you're going to go with the red and green M&Ms. I bought all of this at the dollar store. Now, if you choose to do that, say on the corner maybe, right? Let's turn it this way. You might have to hold it for a little while. If it starts to slide off, maybe just work slowly. Let's go red. See what I'm doing? I'm just decorating. And just think about what do you want on your, oops, green should go here. Let's make the pattern right, okay? And your gingerbread house will start coming together, okay? Maybe you want to use some of these candies. Maybe you want to then go in and get some candy canes, okay? And you might want to put those here. You could also use glue to do that. I have one that I actually did half of, okay? I didn't even finish it yet, but you could glue these. This is actually acting as your glue. Then once you do this, again, if it starts to slide, you go back and you work slowly and patiently. Resilience, never give up, right? We can do this, and we work. Now, less is more. Don't put so much on your house that it's something that if it's too much, it's just gonna all slide off and get too heavy and break your house, okay? I promise you that if you cut the gingerbread the way I did, you might want to go online and watch the video first. And then with the help of a second person, your mom, your dad, your older brothers or sisters, just work together. Someone hold the two corners till it starts to bond together. Then maybe do the next two sides. I mean, it's hard to do all of it at one time. Just give it a little time to glue, all right? Let me show you one I did. I only did half of one, but look at this one. Look at this one. I'm gonna move this one out of the way, okay? Because I could work on that one later. So look, this one I started like putting candies along the bottom. I did some gumdrops on the top, and it just looks like a gorgeous, I put a little door. I put some chocolate Santas in the front. I just bought a bag like that from the Dollar Tree. And there's the top, and I put a little white snowflake, the candy snowflake. I made a little hard piece of candy for the door. You might want to unwrap some of these fun things. You know, those are fun to use. Remember, the heavier it is, the more it's going to slide off. So I have seen gingerbread in Winter Wonderland houses where someone uses all of these all along the top. And that's great, but if that's the case, you're gonna wanna hold one at a time. Unwrap it first, okay? Get that to stick, and once it's sticking, then move on to the next one. So it can take you some time to do this. I didn't finish this side yet because I wanted you to see how it just glues together. But look what happens. The frosting that's on the Pop-Tart makes it look like snow is already on the house, okay? Now here's a really super great idea. So get creative. Use your little like Teddy Grahams if you have them. Like just go around your house and look for things you have. And then think about this. Maybe someday for breakfast, you're just going to put out Pop-Tart houses. You can even make smaller ones if you want to cut the Pop-Tarts into smaller squares. Try making more tiny houses. You could even use graham crackers. But then I went and found a tray, It's like jelly roll pan. And this is literally Rice Krispie treats with little mini marshmallows in it. These might even be fun to pick out and to put onto your, you could use marshmallows on your Winter Wonderland house. And then what you can do is you can take, here's the one that I just started. You could take and build a village inside of your Rice Krispies. So maybe I could take this one. Let's see if I can get it off. This is tricky to do on camera, right? I could peel this one off, or I could put the whole thing on, or I could peel it right off of the tray if I want, and put it down here. And now look, I'm actually making a centerpiece on my table made out of Pop-Tarts and cereal. And then I could say, breakfast time. And we could like scoop out the cereal into our bowls with some milk and start breaking, maybe not eat the candy so much for breakfast. I might save that part for later, but maybe start breaking off some Pop-Tart pieces. And I could have Pop-Tarts and cereal for breakfast. So there's just a little bit of an idea of something you can do. Your imagination should just make it go crazy. You can make as many as you want, just one that you're going to eat. Make sure if you're making it for a friend or someone you're going to give it to that you've really washed your hands well. Maybe I'd wear a mask even before I decorate it, and don't be licking your hands and eating the candy while you're doing it. Save that for later, okay? So I know that while I was building it, it started to fall apart and it looked a little messy, but as you can see, it does work. So stick with it. Never give up. Have resilience. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Buy a few extra Pop-Tarts just in case, because once you get too much frosting on them and they start to get soft, they'll break. So then you just pick up another Pop-Tart. You can use any flavor. These happen to be strawberry. You can use blueberry. You could use any kind you like. Plain if you're not into the frosting, you know, whatever. Just go crazy. And you know what I would really love? If some of you could do this and share your pictures with me. So my email at Anna Reynolds is lgagliardi, Gagliardi, so you'll do lgagliardi at npsct.org. And your moms and dads can look me up. That's my email address at Anna Reynolds. And if you make any of these wonderful houses, please take a picture of it and share it with me. You have all holiday break to do this. And into January and into February. It's just a great activity. Okay? So happy holidays. I hope you have a wonderful vacation. Try this. Remember, we're all food artists and we're going to use our imagination and have a wonderful time. Be safe. And guess what? I will see you next year in 2021. Until next time, happy reading, happy cooking, and enjoy yourselves. Bye-bye.